All right, so here we have Larry the Lumbar Legend here. He's a lumbar spine that we use to demonstrate exercises and movements that need to be addressed in reference to your spine. So today we're going to be talking about sciatica. Now, sciatica is something that quite a few people suffer from. The actual cause is really unknown, but we do know that stresses and trauma to the lumbar spine, including extended sitting, if you have something that maybe hits you in the back, can cause some herniation. Those things can actually cause sciatica. But for the most part, most people experience sciatica from sitting too much. We live in this world now, this culture where we spend 8 to 10 hours a day in a seated position, a lot of times hunched over, and that puts a lot of pressure on the lumbar spine. So here we are, we have Larry. Now, this is a healthy spine. You see, we have a curvature here. Now, what happens when you have sciatica? Now, you can think about when you sit. This is how you sit. You kind of sit, you put your tailbone down, and you end up flexing your spine. Now you see here, when you flex your spine, you start to get a little extension in the vertebrae here. Now, when that vertebrae starts to extend, you get a flattening of the spine. All right, and that flattening of the spine ends up putting a lot of pressure on that sciatic nerve. And that's the cause, or that's the name of the actual nerve that you have an irritation in when we're talking about sciatica. Now, the contraindications or the symptoms of it could be you have some tension in your lower spine or your lower back. You might have a little bit of tingling or numbness in your legs or your hips or even down into your foot. Actually, the sciatic nerve is the longest nerve in your body. So it's something to be considered and something you probably want to keep healthy. So here's a couple exercises you can do. We're going to show you a couple exercises that you can try that on your own that can help you with your sciatica. Now, you can try a clamshell. And with that clamshell, what you're going to do is you're going to lay on your side and essentially, just as you can see here, just lift your knee up as high as you can to the side. Another exercise you can do is one of our favorites, the hip press. Well, a lot of people call it a glute bridge. It's the same thing, just a different name. A rose is just as sweet by any other name, as they say, right? So essentially, what you're going to do is you're going to lay on your back, and you're going to press your hips up as high as you can. What you want to focus on when you're doing this hip bridge or this hip press, you want to make sure that you are tilting your pelvis down into the floor before you execute the movement. And that actually brings us into our final exercise. It is called a pelvic tilt. So what we're going to do with the pelvic tilt is it's very easy. You're going to keep your hips on the floor. You're going to arch your back, try to get your lumbar spine or your lower back as high as you can off the ground. Then you're going to push your back down into the floor. Now, if you're having sciatica issues already, you probably want to refrain from pushing your back down into the floor so that you don't further extend the distortion in your lower spine or your lumbar spine. So yes, when you're having a lumbar spine issue, aka sciatica, well, then you want to make sure that you're trying to regain this natural curve in your spine. As I said, you get that curvature from sitting. So a lot of times your lumbar spine will extend and stretch, and you'll get a flattening of that spine. And what we want to do is we want to make sure that we have that curvature in the lumbar spine so that you can support yourself and so you won't have any pinching of these nerves here. All right? So hopefully that answers your questions about sciatica. I think this is going to be very helpful for a lot of people out there. So feel free to share this with friends and family and other people that might be suffering from sciatica. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to put them down below in the comment section. I would love for you to subscribe, so go ahead and push that subscribe button so that you can be informed and notified when we answer your next question. All right, thank you so much for watching and listening, and as always, keep good company.
That's awesome!